Food labels may be getting another makeover in an effort to make consumers more aware of what they're eating. Today, the Food and Drug Administration is proposing new nutrition labels that will highlight calories and sugar content. The font would be bigger, bolder, and show whether foods have any added sugars. Serving sizes would also be more realistic.
I like the sound of that because that can be confusing. Foods you may think are good are actually bad for you, and vice versa. So how do we differentiate between nutrition and nonsense? Well, by asking the expert, of course. Ali Miller, dietitian with Naturally Nourished, is here to dispel the top 4 food fibs. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Melissa.
It is so confusing. We're going to start with eggs this morning. This is something that we hear is high in fat. It'll raise your cholesterol. Don't eat the egg yolk. What's the truth here?
You know, the American Heart Association did release their ban on the 2 eggs a week, which was set back in the 90s. And so eggs actually do not raise cholesterol in a bad way. They actually, in their yolks, which is where the cholesterol is contained, have a lot of nutrients, some that help our eye health, and as well as choline, which can help our brain development and prevent against Alzheimer's disease. So really beneficial. Also getting some omega-3s in those egg yolks if you're choosing the pasture-raised eggs or the eggs that the chickens are fed flaxseed. So I actually did with research a bunch of clients that we did 12 to 16 eggs a week and were able to get them off of their statin or cholesterol-lowering drugs.
By eating more
Yes, by eating more
eggs.
eggs, exactly. Sometimes when we eat that breakfast cereal, that bagel, or that muffin, our blood sugar spikes in the morning, and we store that excess sugar as fat. Cholesterol is a type of fat, so we can raise our cholesterol with a vegan muffin.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I love that information.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to fats because
Sure.
we're told all fat makes us fat.
Right,
so
right.
What do we do with
well,
that?
the reality is if we eat too low fat, our body becomes kind of fat insecure and wants to hold on to the fat on our body and is going to lose from muscle mass if we lose weight. So we actually want a good amount of dietary fat to help to train our body to be able to lose some of that excess fat storage.
But is the key in finding the right fats that you want to use?
It is, and the main myth that I'm focusing on is saturated fats. So saturated fats had been demonized back in the 70s. We've actually done a peer-reviewed literal journal review, and in 2012 we found no correlation of saturated fat raising your heart disease risk. And so that's a big misunderstood fad. The coconut oil can be very beneficial in preventing against Alzheimer's disease. Butter, your raw aged cheeses, really nutritionally dense items. And sometimes when we go to those liquid fats, we get much more processed items.
Okay, let's move on to the carbs because no-carb diets have been really popular the past decade or so.
Yeah, well, and you know, the food pyramid was originally had all carbs as the base. So we've kind of rebumped that. We're realizing that having high carbs and lower fat actually sets us up for weight gain, and having a little bit higher fat, lower carb can actually help to burn that fat on the body, like I was saying with the fats. So we want to keep the carbs moderate because that's where our blood sugars spike and we store excess fat in our body.
And finally, sugar. What about it?
Yes, so sugar, we used to say, oh, it's just the empty calories and that's it. Calorie for calorie, whatever you eat is going to create your weight gain or weight loss. Well, that's not true. We're seeing that sugar itself, especially the high fructose corn syrup, is a toxin to our liver and actually can interfere with our insulin, which helps with regulating our blood sugar levels, and can interfere with our leptin, a hormone that helps us feel satiated. And so excess sugar can actually set us up for prediabetes or diabetes, as well as interfering with our ability to lose weight.
All right, Ali Miller, thanks for coming in. The 4 fibs are now the truth. We know
Absolutely.
what to do.
Eat your eggs, your saturated fat's okay, but keep those carbs and sugar in check.
All right, Tom, did you take notes?
I did take notes. Question is whether I could do it all.